A quick video on the 2025 Mazda CX50, how to remove the SRS or SAS module in the car. First thing you're going to want to do is disconnect the battery, negative terminal there, put that to the side. This way we don't get any extra damage from unplugging modules, wires, connectors. Next, we're going to come here on the side and start pulling some of this side trim here. And there's a Phillips head here for this, so you want to do this on both sides. Next, we'll want to come back here and pull this trim piece off the car. Use a pry tool. With that off, there's one connector here for the USB connectors. Up top here, you'll have two 10mm nuts. You'll want to get those loose. Skip the step on the sides here, but when we pull this trim off, you'll have two 10mm nuts on both sides here, and a Phillips head that you'll want to remove. Back in the center console area by the shifter, you'll have this trim here that you'll want to remove. I just used this tool here and to give it a little leverage. It's starting to pull out. Then you'll have the Phillips head screws here. And you're able to pull this. Once I get this side off, you'll be able to pull this up. This way you can get to these a little better. So as you're pulling this up, you're gonna feel a lot of tension over here. This you're gonna want to start pulling out on, right? You have these clips pushing down, and then here you'll have, I don't know if you can see it very well, right here, clips pushing in this way. So pull up and then give it a little bit to pull forward to the vehicle, and then you'll have connectors below this. So not a lot of space. I'm getting a better view here on the passenger side, but 3 or 4 connectors down here that we'll want to unplug, and that'll allow us to pull this out completely. You got to figure out how to pull out the shift knob here as well. All right, so shift knob is not as bad as I thought. You just got to put a little tension, pull them up. You don't have to squeeze the button or nothing. Tough to do one hand. There we go. All right. I did push this down a little bit. Maybe you need to, maybe you don't. But be mindful of this over here. It can go easily flying if you put a little too much on there. You have, this is the bottom piece, and this flat side is the top piece towards that gear selector. So now, once we unplug all the connectors below this, we'll be able to completely take this off. So you got all the connectors to take off this, and you just have this one. It's like holding the wire in place with a little bracket in there. So we're gonna pop that off with the trim tool, and then we can fully pull this off. And we're not too far from that module, right over there. We're pretty close to, still got to remove those Phillips, and then we got, I see 2 more 10mm right there, and we'll be a lot closer to that module there. Hopefully that's all, and we can start pulling this console apart. So I just removed the 4 Phillips. We still have 4 more 10mm to go up here, but we'll still need to pull this up. And this is just nothing crazy. We're pulling up the cup holders here, see if there's any connectors or anything else down there limiting us from pulling this apart. It looks like there's this trim piece down here too. All right, this pulls, looks like it has a few pieces down here, and actually pull it from the top. So I pulled it from the bottom, you got to pull it from the top. it looks like 2 more Phillips down there. And these are a little different than the rest. These are black, quick way to tell, and the rest were a silver. All right, so we'll start taking off these 410s, and I also found 2 little clips down here. Quick, easy, right behind. If you reach behind, puts just enough tension to pop these out. Put these to the side, and this thing's starting to get loose. Now let's take these 410s and see what else we got. All right, so with these 410s out, right here holding the console to the shifter. Now it's loose. I just pulled a little back on it this way, and it's ready to start coming apart. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna check, kind of start wiggling these out in between the seats. I don't have anywhere to hold the camera, so I just got to report back and see what the best way to pull this off this area is. Looks like I got a little too excited. Before we start pulling this too far off, we have these 2 connectors down here for all of the USB connectors, anything in this center console. All right, three plugs down here, and then we'll be able to start sliding this out a little further and get to that module. All right, I got a little too excited, and I guess this is working out a little better now. If you pull up, I didn't realize this, but when I pulled up on this to try to lift the center console, this is pushed down with all of these various clips around it. And it just uncovered, I'm gonna put this to the side, it just uncovered 2 more Phillips heads. So once we pull that, maybe we can take the skin off of this, or get a little more room on this, but I'll keep you guys posted. All right, so with this screw out, you'll pull up on this a little bit, right? As you see on this, tough to do with one hand, but pull up on these. You just got to make it over this little piece on all of them, and it'll allow you to separate this. This will give you a little more room, a lot more room to pull this out, because you don't have to fight this little piece rubbing up against this. Now you'll be able, once you do both sides, you'll be able to pull it out a lot more smooth, and this will be your only restriction. Hopefully we could lift over this rather than having to put the battery back on and move this to neutral or bring it further back. All right, I almost got the whole thing pulled apart. Last thing, once you remove the 2 trims on the sides here, you'll have a lot of space in the front. This is a little bit in the way, but I think we can work around it. You can kind of butcher this around and get to the module right here if you want, but if you want a little more space back here where this wire is that we unplugged, it's hooked onto the box. It's hooked onto a trim here and down there. So once we pull it off from here, that'll give us a lot more space to fully pull this out. Yeah, let me get the tool. Perfect. And now once that's disconnected, I'll be able to grab it one hand, and you can see everything you need to right here on the module. Now you'll want to unplug this first before unbolting it and starting to move it around. We do have the battery unplugged, but next steps are to pull this. Okay, I was struggling there for a little bit, trying to figure out how to unplug this, but if you see that tab, this white tab in there, if you push it in this way, it'll unclip. So let me see if I can get a good view on this for you. Pick tool will work good. So all I did was push that little piece in, and it'll allow us to release this. With two hands, it's easy. Get the other three, then you can, once it's unplugged, you can get to these screws and pull it out. All right, so this is where I'm gonna stop the video. For me, I don't need to pull this out. I don't have a replacement. I just needed to pull the some of the information on here to send it out, see if someone can rewrite this data, the crash data on here. The parts on back order, so it's been a little tough there. Reinstallation is same exact process, just backwards. Plug this in, start plugging in, putting the console back, plugging in the wires back here, finessing the console back into the front, the outside trim pieces, the bolts here around this frame, and so forth. Just watch the video on rewind. Thank you.